light so bright. Rev it up, feel the pace, speed hounds in the race. Feel the thrill, feel the chase. Victory is our only place. Thrill the place. Thrill the place. Throttle down, no time to waste. In this high octane haste. Feel the thrill, feel the chase. Victory is our only place. Throttle down, no time to waste. In this high octane haste. Every corner, every taste leads us closer to first place. Throttle down, no time to waste. In this high octane haste. In this high octane haste. Every corner, every taste leads us closer to first place. Under lights the engine scream. This is more than just a dream. Through the asphalt like a beam. Racers' hearts with fervor gleam. In this game we find our might. Push the pedal like the night. With each lap our spirits flight. Racing on with all our might. With all our might. Thrill the place. Thrill the place. Thrill the place.
Vision. Planning. Possibility. At Metal Morphosis Machine, we turn ideas into engineered reality. Whether you're working with plastics, composites, ferrous or non-ferrous metals, our capabilities and vast partner network ensure no project is too big, too small, or too complex. From concept to completion, your success starts here. Discover how Metal Morphosis can elevate your machining needs today.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in to Chicagoland Speedway here this evening for the Richard Bradshaw presented HCK Beagles Truck Series here this evening as race number 4 is about to get underway and these drivers get ready to play. Here in this one is each and every one of them out there just getting done their qualifying session. They'll get loaded into the sim. They'll get ready to try and put themselves into that winner's circle later this evening as each and every one of these drivers will get loaded and ready to rock and roll for 110 laps of racing action here from Chicagoland Speedway this evening. As Mr. Jimmy 6 times in the chat says PSCRL is here. Let's go, baby. Good to see Josh there in the chat. And Richard Bradshaw, what's good, Richard? Richard says Richard Bradshaw in the motherfucking house. Let's go, Richard. Let's go, baby. Says let's go, number 20, cheering on Jason LePan here this evening. As we'll get all these drivers ready to rock and roll, we'll get ready to go to battle as the Metal Morphosis Manufacturing LLC HCK Beagles Truck Series gets ready to roll here from the front straightaway. Starting on the pole in the HendrickCars.com, number 5 ride is Nicholas Snyder, starting in the pole position. To his outside, in the race line number 1, it is Brad Lane, starting there in second. Back in that third position, it's one of those KR Gutters Ridge Powersports rides. It's the 77 of Brandon Deming, starting in third. To his outside in the 9 ride, that is Aiden Hines. Hines there in position is Hines in that number 9 ride back there in the 4th position. Starting in position number 5 in the Jegs.com. Number 45, that is Chris Gilbert to his outside in that Metal Morphosis Machine LLC. Number 18, it's Jacob Grube who will start there in that 6th position. Starting back in 7th in the beautiful number 64 ride. That is Cal Turboville to his outside his teammate in that hometown garage. Number 68, it's Evan Gourmet. Starting in position number 9 in the 29, it is the Napa Auto Parts and ride of Tyler Lemon to his outside in the Tech Warrior. Number 19, it's Ed Koschersberger. Starting back in the 11th position in the Muehlberger Custom Homes Sonographic Designs. Number 42, it's Winker right there in the 11th spot. Winker Nation on their feet. Cheer this guy on. It's K-Dub will start back in the 11th spot. The Ridge Powersports 469er Ryan Peterson back there in 12th with the Friends for Pets, the Juke Joint. Number 4, Tim Blankenbeckler, Jason LePan, John Herbert, Kyle Van Tassel, and Bobby Blair bringing up the rear of the field. And 17 drivers ready to try and find victory lane here at the beautiful Chicagoland Speedway as we end all the anticipation with our feature presentation. As we are quickly green flag racing, the 5 ride of Nicholas Snyder gets a great launch, a good start here, looking to try to lead us down the back straightaway, but a good run on the inside for the 77 of Brandon Deming. Deming looking to try and take this top spot away. He's all over the back bumper, pushing him deep down into corner number 3. Nice and easy though out at corner number 4, but here comes Brad Lane battling back. The 9 ride right there ready to bounce. Same with Jacob Groob. Groob right here in this battle as across the line it's Nicholas Snyder who leads lap number 1. So 2, 3 wide, even a little bit of 4 wide down these straightaways and through the corners for each and every one of these drivers. They are looking to try to keep themselves in it all evening long. And the big question mark of the day is going to be the strategy. How does the strategy play out here? Does tire wear take effect? Do we see drivers having struggles, running into problems, having tire issues throughout this feature event? And when does the fuel come into play? As Jacob Groob, sure what's going on here. It shows Groob with the black flag right here. Groob, John Herbert, they both have black flags. Same with Bobby Blair. So I'm not sure. We may have to see all 3 of these drivers head down pit side and serve penalties. So we'll have to wait and take a look here. Is Jacob Groob looking to maybe come down pit road? There it is. Hard left-hand turn. Groob hits pit lane. Here comes, oh man, here comes John Herbert. Herbert, though, with the whole head of steam, missed pit road. He's going to enter here. Unfortunately, that's going to be an unsafe pit road entry. That may be another unfortunate break there for the 87 ride. And a pair of those Ridge Powersports rides serving penalties here this evening. They come down pit road for the 75. He hits his pit stall. The 18 ride, Jacob Groob, keeps on rolling. He's looking to get back out there. So isn't John Herbert. Bobby Blair, though, down pit road. Sure what the call is here for the 75, but that's a tough break here to start this race, having to come down pit side and already a lap down. As Snyder continues to lead the way, Aiden Hines there in position. Number 2 on the speedway. Hines there in that 2nd spot, having a great run, a great drive with Brad Lane, Deming, and Chris Gilbert rounding out our top 5. Evan Gourmet, who's looked very strong early in this season, sits back there in 6th, and the driver who's came home on a podium run each and every single race so far this season. That 64 Cal Turboville looking to try to get that beautiful Howard ride up and into the podium again here this evening. As we did see John Herbert, unfortunately for Herbert, did have to serve another pass through right here. So the 87 ride does come down pit side. He gets into his pit stall here. Unfortunately, already a lap down. Probably going to go 2 laps down here as he's still down pit road. And for our race leaders, they're down and across the start finish line here. So there you go. Down and across the line, they will complete another lap. As look out as the 75 ride of Bobby Blair. Looked like Bobby Blair might have ran into an issue. Coming out of corner number 4 right here. Who was this? Was a lot of smoke right here. Was it Jacob Groob potentially? No, Groob, not the driver. So somebody ran into some issues here. Maybe it was John Herbert trying to get back down pit road, maybe coming in Fast and the Furious style, and unfortunately does end up having some issues there. But luckily enough, we're all able to keep on battling, able to keep on rolling. We do see Bobby Blair. He is rolling out there. Unfortunately, early on here for Bobby, he's currently scored 2 laps down out there on the speedway for John Herbert. He's just getting up the speed. He's currently scored 3 laps down here to start this race. And for Bobby Blair, Bobby does have another black flag, so potentially speeding down pit side for the 75 ride. He may have to come back down pit road here again this evening. Man, this is a tough break for a couple of those Ridge Powersports rides. They just can't seem to get themselves out of trouble and keep themselves out of issues here to start this race. As Nicholas Snyder out in front, he does see John Herbert right there in front of him. Herbert potentially about to go another lap down. Jacob Grube not too far away as well. Grube was able to get down pit road, hit pit speed, did not make a mistake, did not run into an issue. He's able to keep on battling here. He's still on the lead lap. He's just got to hope to see a caution flag fly to get himself back into the action. As Nicholas Snyder continues to lead the way, going to click off another lap as Hines right there in second. Then we see Brad Lane back in third. Brandon Aming, Chris Gilbert, Evan Gourmet, Cal Turboville, Jason LePan up 6 positions here in that beautiful Richard Bradshaw ride here this evening. We see Richard right on board here with that 20 machine, looking beautiful as always. The paint scheme, and obviously seeing Mr. Bradshaw here on the race car out there on the speedways. Jason rolls in that 8th position, up 6 spots on the speedway, man. Off to a good start in that Warrior Racing ride. Tyler Lemon back there in 9th, and Ed Koschersberger, his Tech Warrior machine, back in position number 10. Ryan Peterson back in 11th as Kevin Winker, K-Dub sits there in that 12th position. Kyle Van Tassel, Tim Blankenbeckler, Jacob Grube, our top 15, all still on the lead lap. John Herbert, unfortunately, I do believe at least 2 laps down, potentially going to be 3 laps down, as our race leaders are right there behind him here. So if they do end up passing him, he will fall 3 laps down. Bobby Blair, unfortunately, is down pit side. I do believe this is going to put Bobby at least 4 laps down now. Man, this is tough. Tough break here for a couple of these Ridge Powersports rides early on this evening. They need to see a few yellow flags and trying to get some waiver rounds and lucky dogs to try and get John Herbert and Bobby Blair back into the action here this evening. But obviously having black flags for previous races and then running into more issues, more problems down pit road. We saw that number 87 ride, too fast on entering, couldn't hit the pit lane safely, ended up still going down pit road at pit road speed. Unfortunately, it was an unsafe pit, still had to come in, serve another penalty. And for Bobby Blair, looked like he came down pit road, served his hold, but then got caught speeding, and unfortunately had to make an additional pit stop here. And for both John Herbert and Bobby Blair, they're trying to save themselves another lap out there on the racetrack, as our race leaders are not too far behind these guys. They're just entering corner number 1. Brad Lane, who's now our race leader, sits there just, a corner or 2 away from potentially lapping them again, as Nicholas Snyder does slide back here into position number 2 on the racetrack. So Snyder kind of on the backslide, but I think for a lot of these drivers, the tire wear going to start to become an issue. Tire wear going to start to become a problem for them in what they need to do or what they want to do here in this feature event. And that's going to make things very, very interesting, because a lot of drivers like to play it slow and steady off the get-go here. Maybe give up a little bit of time early on, not burn up your tires, try to go right into that saving mode, and then trying to maybe save a set for later in this race, or potentially just trying to use those little bit better tires later in the run. You may gain more ground that way than potentially running as hard as possible right off the drop of the green flag. So for drivers like Ed Koschersberger, Ryan Peterson, a lot of these guys that have ran just outside of 31, or just outside 31 seconds here for their fastest lap times out there on the racetrack, everyone inside our top 9 have all ran inside the 30-second bracket. Some drivers touching 30.7, 30.9s, 30.8s there throughout our top 9. You gotta look back as Koschersberger, fastest lap, 31.07. For Peterson, 31.04. K-Dub, Kevin Winker, we know Winker's always trying to save a little bit out there on the speedway. His quickest lap time, a 31.16. So for a lot of these drivers, man, they've been off the pace, just kind of rolling steady, not wanting to burn their equipment up too much. And I think we're going to start to see more and more drivers run into these issues, run into these problems, having these tire wear really, mitigate their chances and their opportunities out there on the racetrack. As Brad Lane once again under fire from Nicholas Snyder, as Brandon Deming up and into third here. Hines unfortunately falls back now into that fourth position as he's got Evan Gomet, Cal Turbeville, Jason LePan, Chris Gilbert, and that 29 to Tyler Lemon all right there. Great battle here, virtually from third all the way back to position number 9 on the racetrack, man. You can throw a blanket over these guys as they continue to battle. They continue to try to push each other here in this one. As Janelle says, let's go Team HP Motorsports. My boy Ronnie Stewart says they flying. Give them some wings. He says, give them some wings. What are we talking about? We talking about Wild Wings? Wingstop? Where are we going? Where are we going, Rodney? Talking about wings, brother. You're making me hungry, man. I would slam a basket of wings right now. That is for certain. I would definitely slam a bucket of wings for sure. As Amanda Joy also in the chat says, hashtag Winker Nation cheering on K-Dub here this evening. We'll have to wait and see how this tire game plays out, because we know for Winker, he likes to run the stages a little bit longer. He likes to have that better tire for later in the run, and knowing that we're going to give out stage points here in about 13 laps or so from now. So for these drivers, they know that the number that they need to hit here this evening, I do believe it is lap number 33, is the end of our only stage here. So there will be stage points. There will be an opportunity to put those into your back pocket. I do believe throughout our first 3 races of the season, the first 3 races, Kevin Winker has been able to win all 3 stages here to start this season. Can race number 4 produce a little more of the same? Can K-Dub earn himself another stage win and use those stage points and stage wins to help him towards potentially winning the championship later in the season? As K-Dub working to the inside right now, that is the 469 rider Ryan Peterson right there to his outside as they are door to door. There, Slungson and Tyson back there for 11th is out in front. Brad Lane continues to lead the way as the tire fall off for a lot of these drivers who are running in those 30.7 second areas. We've seen about over a second and a half of tire fall off here for these guys, man. Over a second and a half of tire fall off. That means these guys are running quite a bit slower. A lot of these drivers are running in the 32.2s, 32.3s out there on the speedway. So they're running a lot slower here after 22 laps of green flag racing. And unfortunately, the tires, they're not going to get better until you head down pit side. And I think that's where Winker may have that little bit of an advantage. If the fuel mileage can only get you about 30 laps or so without saving, I think a lot of these drivers will probably plan to come down pit side somewhere around lap number 30, maybe try to stretch it to lap number 33 to earn those stage points. And if you're Kevin Winker, he's going to try and stretch that fuel out, try to make it that much farther, and try to put himself into a position where he can still try to win this stage. As Jason LePan goes for a slide here, unfortunately slow down on the apron. Let's take a look back. So LePan battling door to door. Cal Turbeville. This is a battle for that 6th spot on the speedway, and there's actual contact here. Man, I'm not sure if there was more contact prior to this, but it looks like. For the 20 ride, the Richard Bradshaw machine down low, just going to get really loose right here. Lose that rear end, trying to save it. Snap hooks back up the racetrack, bounces hard off that 45 rider. Chris Gilbert, man, that was a big hit right there for Chris Gilbert as well. But you see LePan down through the grass, now trying to save it down on the apron. Luckily enough, keeps the point in the right direction, keeps on rolling. But that's some pretty solid contact there between LePan and that 45 of Chris Gilbert. Unfortunately for Gilbert, he has slid back now into that 9th position, but it's going to come down here. I think really Ryan Peterson and Kevin Winker, I think are going to be two drivers that are going to really try to stretch these tires, stretch this fuel, and try to put themselves into a good position as the top 6 drivers will all earn stage points here at the completion of lap number 33. So being inside that top 6, earning a extra point or potential bonus point or a handful of points here throughout this first stage can make a mediocre day into a really good day in a quick curry. And I know Winker and that 469 Ryan Peterson have been kind of hanging back. They've been hanging back, they've been kind of biding their time. They're starting to move forward a little bit now. We'll have to wait and see if they do have enough to work themselves inside the top 6, or if they're expecting a lot of these other drivers to maybe start coming down pit side. If they do have to make pit stops, it will open up the door here for Peterson or Winker to potentially jump up and snag this stage win as Brad Lane out in front. Continue to lead the way. It's a train right behind him, though, with Nicholas Snyder trying to hunt him down. Brandon Domingue back there in third. Aiden Hines there in position number 4 with Evan Gourmet rounding out our top 5. Cal Turbeville there in position number 6 with Tyler Lemon, Ed Koschersberger, Ryan Peterson, and Kevin Winker, K-Dub rounding out our top 10 here on the Speedway. Chris Gilbert back in 11th with Tim Blankenbeckler and Kyle Van Tassel, our top 13 here on the Speedway, as Jason LePan does fall back into about that 14th spot here on the racetrack. Jacob Groob here, he's battling, still trying to keep himself on the lead lap. For Groob, obviously had to serve that opening laps penalty, had to come down pit road, had to serve a black flag from last week. And for the 18 ride, he's still in the lead lap, still in the battle. He sits right now in that 15th position, and unfortunately for John Herbert, he still finds himself probably about 3 laps down, almost 4 laps down out there on the racetrack. Same with Bobby Blair. Actually looks like Bobby has fallen back here, and I do believe he's currently sitting at 4 laps down, almost going to 5 laps down here this evening. So tough break for a couple of those Ridge Powersports rides as they continue to battle out here on the Speedway. Everyone's looking to try to navigate their way up into the front here in this one. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see who's going to be able to make some moves, who's going to be able to put themselves into the winning situation here in this one as man, what in the world? My Flyers, man. My Flyers blowing a 3-0 lead after the first. That is absolutely crazy, Chad. That is absolutely crazy. I can't believe we're already losing, man. That is absolutely wild. Alrighty, here we go. Still battling, though, here at the front of the field as we inch closer and closer to the end of stage number 1 here this evening. Brad Lane, Nicholas Snyder 1 and 2. It's Brandon Domingue in the Ridge Powersports ride, parked back there in third. Aiden Hines there in fourth with Cal Turbeville and Evan Gourmet rounding out our top 6 here on the Speedways. We do see Jacob Groob come down pit road. Groob pits here. Now that will put him a lap down out there on the Speedways. Jacob Groob comes down pit road for Brad Lane. All these other drivers, all they got to do is basically make it another lap and a half here to try and put themselves into a stage win here this evening. No one's going to come down pit road here on lap number 32, so this is going to be our final lap here of stage number 1 this evening. So stage points on the line. Who's gonna hunt them down? Who's gonna look to try to earn those extra stage points here in this stage at Chicagoland Speedway? As they're a single file down the back straightaway, they shoot it down low into corner number 3. The number 1 ride trying to hold on to it, but looks like Brad Lane's gonna come down pit side. Lane looks like he cannot make it any farther. He has to pit, and unfortunately for Brad Lane, no stage points there to the number 1 machine, as Nicholas Snyder will pick up the stage win. Aiden Hines back in third. Cal Turbeville, Evan Gourmet, and Tyler Lemon in the 29 will all earn stage points here this evening. Kevin Winker, unfortunately, 1 spot shy of that stage right there, and for the 42, he'll be back in 7th. Chris Gilbert there in 8th. Brad Lane does come down pit road in. Ed Koschersberger, the Tech Warrior, pops Smoke Machine, unfortunately, making his pit stop here as well. Green flag pit stop for the 19 ride. Too fast entering pit road. And for Ed Koschersberger, unfortunately, that is going to set him back here. A big penalty down pit side as Tim Blankenbachler, Kyle Van Tassel also down pit road. Now we do see Nicholas Snyder, Brandon DeMing, Aiden Hines. Here comes Cal Turbeville, Evan Gomet, Winker as well down pit road. Same with Chris Gilbert and Tyler Lemon. So all these drivers coming down pit side, making their first green flag pit stops of the day. As out in front, it was Nicholas Snyder winning the stage. Snyder able to win stage number 1 here this evening. We'll have to wait and see where he migrates back out onto the racetrack, where Brad Lane may be. Lane did have that race lead before pitting a lap shy. He's able to use those fresh tires to his advantage here. He is going to jump out in front by quite a bit here. He's going to have a pretty good gap between himself and Nicholas Snyder. So a great run, great jump right there for these drivers. And let's see if we can get a good look here at our pit stop time here for a bunch of these drivers. So for a bunch of these cats, man, some really good pit stops, pretty sizable pit stops, and you can kind of see where some of them have gained spots, some of them had lost positions, and obviously other drivers trying to gain even more out there on the speedway. As let's see, pit stop strategy, pit stop time. Let's take a look here. This is the first time I really looked through these pit stop graphics to really see what these look like, to really see what these kind of show us here in the overlay. So let's see if... Okay, so it kind of shows us the times right here. Okay, this is interesting. So it does show the times right there. Shows you where drivers were a little bit better, a little bit quicker here. For some of them, a little bit better than others, where they were able to gain that extra little bit of strategy, able to put themselves out in front, or able to gain a few spots out there on the speedway. Not sure if there's anything else. Okay, we got stint length, pit stop lap, and pit lane time. So pit lane time here. Okay, so right there shows you the time that they were down pit road. So the time that they had to come down pit road here in this one. You take a look at Lane, a 42.1. A little bit quicker there than Snyder. DeMing with a good stop as well, 40.4. That was a good pit stop area for the number 77 ride. So some drivers a little quicker down pit side than others, and that extra little bit, that few seconds here or there, could be make or break on your season and or your race here today. So that's some great action out there, man. These guys really giving us a good look here at what they're doing, how they're grooving, and how they're feeling here as we hit 38 laps completed here in this feature event. Brad Lane out in front. Lane looking for the win here in this one as B. Laner out in front. We see Nicholas Snyder right there in second. Brandon DeMing back there in position number 3. Hines back in fourth with Cal Turbeville and Evan Gomet rounding out our top 6. Kevin Winker, K-Dub back there in 7th with Ryan Peterson, Jason LePan, Tim Blankenbachler, our top 10 here on the racetrack. Jacob Grube and the 45 of Chris Gilbert door-to-door here. Looks like Grube is going to take over position number 11 from Chris Gilbert. Gilbert will slide back to 12th. Kyle Van Tassel there in 13th with Ed Koschersberger back in that 14th position. Unfortunately for Ed, and here, unfortunately, did go a lap down there. That pit road mistake, that pit road issue has put Ed Koschersberger a lap down. And I do believe for Tyler Lemon, also a lap down here as well. So issues for Tyler Lemon and Ed Koschersberger down pit road. Going to put them both one lap down here this evening. Meaning Kyle Van Tassel, last car on the lead lap here this evening. And obviously he's looking to try to at least keep himself on the lead lap here all evening long. For Ed Koschersberger, he is still in that free pass position. If he can get the lucky dog, if he can get a wave around, maybe able to get himself back into the battle here this evening. But he's going to need a quick caution flag to really help him out, as out in front, Brad Lane just continues to click off these laps, man. Just continues to hit his marks, not make too many mistakes. Just trying to run a virtually perfect action and perfect race here this evening, as he's got just over a second between himself and Nicholas Snyder. Now, he did come down pit road a lap earlier, than pretty much everyone back here behind him, or at least everyone inside the top 7. So maybe pitting that one lap too soon, maybe that'll hurt him a little bit in the long run. Obviously, one lap isn't going to make a huge difference, but in the end, it can start to affect your ride. It can start to wear those tires out at least maybe a lap sooner than the cars back there behind you. And every additional lap, every little bit that you're sitting there on the edge of your seat just trying to keep your truck from going around or running into issues for Brad Lane, he's got to hope that throughout this run, until he has to come back down pit road, that he does not see Nicholas Snyder close in that 1 second gap, get to his back bumper, because he could potentially try to steal this race lead back away from him. So it's all about the strategy here now. It's for these drivers. Stage number 1, they were able to earn their stage points for the most part. For our top 6 in that stage, they all got some points here, and that can definitely help go a long way, especially with the pit road penalties that we've seen here already this evening. There's been quite a few pit road problems, and for a lot of these drivers, you come down pit side, you make an issue, you give yourself a problem, and if they're on the racetrack, you put yourself behind the 8 ball. It can get really difficult in a quick hurry. So for Nicholas Snyder, he's just looking to try to keep hitting his marks, keep running his race, wait till later on to try and reel in this number 1 ride as he's slowly but surely catching up to the number 1. He doesn't have to push it. He doesn't have to hyper-focus on trying to pass him here. That 1 ride will more than likely start to fall back into his lap here. Should start to run a little bit slower lap times, and that will open up the door here for Nicholas Snyder to just kind of reel him in and hunt him down out there on the speedway. As man, Lane, Snyder, and Brandon Domingue doing a great job. All these drivers doing a fantastic job here in this race, and I do believe we're going to see Bobby Blair, potentially Bobby Blair, taking this car off of the racetrack here. Let's take a look back and see what happened. So Bobby Blair came down pit road right here. Yeah, so it looks like Bobby Blair going to come back down pit side. This is on lap number 40. He comes down pit road, loses the rear end, trying to ride the brakes right there. The truck is going to hook around on him, and unfortunately tows it right back down to his pit stall. Luckily enough, no caution flag, but for the 75, that is going to put him a few more laps down here, and I'm not sure if he's going to even jump back out there. It looks like he has left the server. So for Bobby Blair, it looks like his night has come to an end here in this one. As Cal Turbeville back inside the top 5, he's looking to try to gain a few more positions, wanting to try to put himself up and onto the podium for all 4 races to start this season, as this 64 ride has been a man on a mission here right from the drop of the first green flag. And probably right down to the checkered flag, man. This number 64 ride looking very good here to start this season. Brad Lane, though, looking really good here tonight. The strategy so far playing out perfectly for him as he continues to hold on to this top position, but we're getting closer and closer to potentially seeing these drivers come back down pit road. I feel this time they're probably only going to run that 30 lap-ish area, somewhere in there, maybe get to, you know, that 31, 32 again out there on the speedway, as all these guys, they know that they're going to have to make at least one more pit stop, and I'm sure even if we stay clean and green, we're more than likely going to see these guys have to come down pit road 2 more times here in this 110 lap feature event. So for Brad Lane, you just got to kind of keep him back there at bay. Hope they maybe you get the jump, quick pit, or short pit down and try to make up a little bit more ground. Give yourself a little bit more of an edge. You kind of know that, you know, over a 20-lap run or so, since they were last down pit side, he's been able to hold them off. He's been able to keep them back there at bay. So late in the race, that could be some huge knowledge to know, to have that knowledge, to have that ability to make that earlier pit stop and to give yourself this little bit of an edge, this little bit of an advantage here with the track position, as we'll see them continue to close them in, though. So this is where things are going to get tough. It'll get very tough for Brad Lane because Not only do you not want to get junked, you don't want to get wrecked, you don't want to run into a problem where the driver that's trying to pass you makes contact, spins you around, takes a really good day at the speedway and kind of throws it out the window, losing all that track position, bringing up the first yellow of the evening. So I think for Brad Lane, he's just trying to run his line, trying to run his race, hoping that he has enough time and enough kind of good karma built up that once Snyder catches him, then he's not going to have to worry about anything crazy. It's Tower Operator, what's good, Mr. Muleberger? Says, hashtag Winker Nation. Says, sorry I'm late. What did I miss? Laugh out loud. So far, Winker, you haven't missed a whole lot, brother. You haven't really missed too much. Early on, we did have a few drivers having to serve penalties early in this race. So, unfortunately for John Herbert, he had a couple black flags, had to come down pit road early on a couple times. He now sits about 3 laps down in on the speedway for Bobby Blair. Also ran into those issues, and then we just saw him come down pit road, have another problem, and has taken the 75 ride down and out of this race. And now we do see Ryan Peterson back down pit road as well here. So Ryan Peterson shoots down pit side. Not sure what's going on here with the 469 ride. Looks like the crew has done their job. He is able to get rolling here, but still just sitting down there in his pit stall. There's no black flags for him, so I'm not sure if there was just an emergency or maybe he had to go to the bathroom or I don't know what may have happened here, but for the Ridge Powersports KR Gutters 469 rider Ryan Peterson parked down pit road, and this is a tough break there for that 469 machine as he continues to lose laps here. He continues to fall farther and farther behind, almost into an area where it's going to be almost impossible to try to battle back, but a battle here at the front of the field. A couple of these drivers that are battling back is this 5 ride of Nicholas Snyder. Snyder down across the line. So this is 22 laps since we saw Brad Lane down pit road. It has been 21 laps since we've seen that 15 ride of Nicholas Snyder down pit side. So Snyder should have a little bit better tire, not by much, but it may be enough for him to jump up here and take over the race lead once again in this one, as he's looking to try to put himself back up into the winner's column. As the number 5, the number 1 nose to tail out there on the racetrack. They got about a 1.5 second gap now between themselves and our 3rd place driver, that Ridge Powersports number 75 of Brandon Deming. Aiden Hines back there in 4th with Cal Turboville rounding out our top 5. Evan Gourmet there in 6th with Kevin Winker. K-Dub in that beautiful Muleberger Custom Homes number 42 truck back there in that 7th position with Tim Blankenbeckler, Jacob Grube, Jason LePan rounding out our top 10. Chris Gilbert there in 11th with Kyle Van Tassel, Tyler Lemon, Ed Koshersberger, Jonathan Herbert. And I do believe we're going to see Ryan Peterson still down pit road, still having some issues here this evening. And then obviously you saw that 75 of Bobby Blair already exit this race. As the heat is on, though, at the front of the field is the 5 rider. Around the outside, it's Nicholas Snyder. He will jump up and take over the race lead once again. So Nicholas Snyder back out in front, able to steal back the race lead from that number 1 machine of Brad Lane. And now we're going to start to see drivers making some early pit calls. We do see Kevin Winker. K-Dub heads down pit side here himself. So Winker shoots down pit road. This is a little bit earlier than everybody else, but I think for Winker, he's kind of got the idea that he's going to split this stage up a little bit. So virtually, you know, they're almost 60 laps into this race. They got about 50 laps left to go. So I think for Winker, you come down pit road here, you go another 75 laps or so, you come back down pit road, putting those fresh tires on, and then obviously right around, it is go time here. Last couple 20 minutes, they're going to have to try to figure something out. As out in front, it is Nicholas Snyder, though, with that race lead. Snyder just doing a perfect job, man. Doing a great job here this evening. The tire wear, the fuel mileage, everything going to come into play. Everything is going to come, you know, really into the strategy here tonight, Mr. Tower Operator. Bruce in the chat. It's definitely going to come down to the nitty-gritty, whether or not it's the early pit stops or maybe later pit stops with the better tires. When you have those better tires, you're able to track those guys down a little bit sooner, a little bit quicker, maybe able to get some passes in it and put yourself into a position to win. But it's going to get very, very interesting, especially with Winker already coming down pit side. Now we do see Jacob Grube and Jason LePan also coming down pit side. So for Grube and LePan, this is a big call for them. And then Winker obviously still rolling out there. Winker right now, he's made that pit stop. He's sitting back in the 11th position. We did see Tyler Lemon also come down pit road there on lap number 58. Jacob Grube, who's down pit side right now, and Ryan Peterson, who's still down pit side here in that 469 ride. But for Grube, Winker, how does this strategy play out for them? Does it play into their favor? What about LePan? Can he gain some spots? Trying to put this beautiful number 20 ride of Richard Bradshaw, number 20, there inside the top 5, top 10 here this evening. Use that little bit of late race magic to try to put yourself into the winners column here this season. It's Tim Blankenbeckler, next driver to come down pit side here this evening. As Tim shoots down to his pit stall, we do see everyone else still staying out here. So still rolling, still staying out. Next time by, they will complete lap number 63 here this evening. So we're getting down to the nitty-gritty in a quick hurry, and it looks like for Nicholas Snyder, he's going to stay out at least another lap. And I think this is where things are going to get very interesting, as drivers always looking for that edge, always looking for that extra little bit. And for a lot of these drivers, we've already seen here this evening, getting a little bit too much down pit side can cost you a ton. You get caught speeding, you have an issue, you slide down through your pit stall, it can take you from a good solid top 5 run to outside the top 10 in a quick hurry. So you got to be dang near virtually perfect, not only out there on the speedway, but also down pit road as well. So these guys are going to stay up for at least another lap here. So they're hitting lap number 64. So they just completed 64 laps. When they were pitting, they completed 34 laps there over that first run. So for a lot of these drivers, if you can kind of go another 3-4 laps or so, maybe, you shave off a little bit more, you run another 30 laps, the numbers are going to get tough here, because for a lot of these drivers, maybe making that extra early, late pit stop, a little later on this evening, maybe not waiting for this round, you're probably going to have to come down pit side at least one more time here this evening. Even if you're able to save a few laps of fuel, let's say these guys make it here to lap number 68, they're probably going to have to come back down pit road somewhere around lap 102. So no matter what, you're going to be making a third pit stop here this evening. As we do see Aiden Hines. Hines comes down pit road here in that beautiful number 9 machine. We also see Cal Turboville and the number 68 ride of Evan Gourmet also down pit road. As Brandon Lane finally shoots down pit side, so doesn't Brandon Domingue, as drivers starting to thin out here. Not a lot of guys here at the front of the field that are riding on those older tires, but one of them being our race leader, Mr. Nicholas Snyder. Snyder out in front, has this race lead. He's got Chris Gilbert right here in front of him. I'm sure he'd love to try to put Chris a lap down and hope to see a caution flag, but it looks like he'll give up on that battle. He'll head down pit road. And for our race leader, Mr. Nick Snyder, he comes down pit side looking to try to work his way into potentially victory lane here this evening, but it's got to come down to these pit stops. It's got to come down to just hitting your marks, not getting caught speeding. You'll see Kyle Van Tassel staying out quite a bit longer here. Chris Gilbert also staying out longer in that 34 ride, and obviously making that a little bit earlier of a pit stop for Kevin Winker. Winker all of a sudden finds himself with the race lead here, or about to be the race lead, as he continues to stick out in front here. He continues to run really, really good, but he's able to leapfrog all these drivers. He's got about a 6-second gap between himself and Brad Lane. So for Kevin Winker, K-Dub, maybe the strategy is going to play out for him. He's obviously already planning on making that one additional pit stop here later in the race. So for a lot of these drivers, it's going to come down to that money stop. You got to be perfect. You can't have an issue. You can't run into a problem and open the door for the drivers back behind you to catch up and potentially past you here on the speedway. It's K-Dub, Kevin Winker out in front, just doing what we're used to seeing here under that Muhlenberger Custom Homes number 42 ride, as Kevin Winker out in front has this race lead. Brad Lane sits back in second, about 6 seconds back still. They're in position number 2. Austin Hines there in position number 4. Nicholas Snyder rounding out our top 5 here on the Speedway, as I do believe we are going to see Kyle Van Tassel come down pit road, so that will move Winker to the point. Lane, Hines, Snyder, and Turboville all back inside the top 5 here after that wave of green flag pit stops. Brandon Ming there in 6 with Evan Gourmet, Jacob Grube, Jason LePan, and Tim Blankenbeckler rounding out our top 10 here on the Speedway. Kyle Van Tassel, Tyler Lemon, they're back in position number 11 and 12, and unfortunately for Lemon, looks like he may be done for the evening. Parked down pit side. Nope, there it is. He's able to get released. He's able to get back into the throttle. Just a little later pit stop there, and pretty much everybody in 4. At number 29, he'll roll out in about the 13th spot on the Speedway. Mr. John Herbert still has to make his way back down pit side here. He sits back in that 14th spot on the Speedway, as Ed Koschersberger back there in 15th, Ryan Peterson in 16th, and unfortunately for Bobby Blair, bringing up the rear of the field there for Bobby. That is a tough break there for Mr. Blair, as nice and easy, down and across the line there. 71 laps completed here by Kevin Winker. So 71 laps already done here this evening. There's, 39 laps left to go here in this race. 39 more laps to duke it out here from Chicagoland Speedway in the Richard Bradshaw HCK Beagles Truck Series here this evening. Shout out there to Mr. Bradshaw, and shout out to Morphosis Machine LLC for coming on board as our series sponsor here for season number 8, I do believe, here with the HCK Beagles Truck Series. As K-Dub Winker out in front, the gap is shrinking, but can he hang on here? I feel like we're going to see Kevin come down pit road somewhere right around lap number, I'm going to say, somewhere around lap number 80, maybe 81, 82, somewhere in there. Gives himself just a little bit of extra fuel if we do go to NASCAR overtime here in these trucks, and if we do, he'll have an extra little bit of gas in his back pocket to try to make it the rest of the way here through those green-white checkers, and if not, it's going to come right down to the strategy. If your driver's back there behind him, you see how much of a jump, on much of a launch that he's able to get in having this race lead and leading the way here. Has that clean air as well, and for Winker, the truck is looking really, really good, looking really A-okay, and I know that he's going to be trying to put himself back up into the winner's circle. It's down across the line. 74 laps completed here in this one. So 74 laps down. The gap is continuing to shrink, though, as Nicholas Snyder, Brad Lane, and the rest of our top 5 trying to hunt down our race leader here on the Speedway. And for Winker, maybe a little bit of a sit and duck as of right now, but I think if he can see another, 7-8 laps, maybe somewhere in there, he may be back down pit road, short pitting this pit stop and giving himself a bit of an advantage heading in to that final run of the day. As we're going to see everybody having to make at least one more pit stop. So far, it seems like the farthest they've really went here on a tank of fuel is about, I'm going to say it's been probably somewhere around about 34, 35 laps of green flag racing. So for each and every one of these drivers, they're currently sitting here about 10 laps or so shy of that checkered flag. So you can't really wait much longer. Can't really make a late race mistake, but you have to try to figure out when's the best time to come down pit road. Just enough that you can try and hope that you don't have to make an additional pit stop, that you don't have too many issues, and that way you can keep yourself right here in the mix, right here in the battle. As here we go, you do see Winker, looks like he's not going to be able to hang on for much longer as the Frencher tires coming up in a quick hurry, shoot down to his inside, and for that number 5 ride of Nicholas Snyder, able to take back over the race lead. So Winker back into second, Brad Lane sits there in third. He's trying to reel in this number 42 as well, as Aiden Hines back there in fourth. Cal Turboville running out our top 5 here this evening, and all of our top 5 start to separate themselves here quite a bit. There's a decent gap between our 5th place driver, Cal Turboville, and our 6th place driver, Brandon Deming. Deming about a second and a half back here of that number 64 ride, and he's got about that second and a half back to Evan Gourmet, and then it's a big drop off here from top 7 all the way back into position number 8. That's where we find Jacob Grube. Grube, unfortunately, back here as well. A early penalty here that he had to serve. Unfortunately, had to come down pit road. Gave up a lot of track time, a lot of track position, and slowly but surely, he's working his way back up towards the front to get back into this battle and try to put that beautiful, beautiful Metal Morphosis Machine LLC truck into the winner's circle. As Nicholas Snyder, though, out in front, Snyder just feeling A-OK as we do see Brad Lane, Aiden Hines, Cal Turboville all able to get around Kevin Winker, so Winker does slide back now into about that 5th position. Has a bit of a gap between himself and our 6th place driver, Brandon Deming. He's got that decent gap there to Mr. Evan Gourmet, and then we see Jacob Grube, LePan, and here we go. We do see Tim Blankenbackler. Tim's going to come down pit road here. So Timmy shoots down pit side. I do believe Tim is a lap down now in that number 4 ride for certain, but can he try to get some of it back? Can he, make a good pit stop here and put himself into a position late in this race for a solid top 10 run for the Friends for Pets, the Juke Joint ride here this evening? Out in front, though, it is Nicholas Snyder, and we're going to get ready to see some more and more of these drivers start to work their way down pit side here to make some late race pit stops here from Chicagoland Speedway's 81 laps completed. 81 laps down. I do believe that is, 29 laps left to go here in this feature event. 28 next time by the start finish line. So as we got just under 30 laps left here in this feature event, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're going to jump into a quick Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up. So crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite drivers here this evening as we crank it up on Peacemaker Gaming. is a beautiful crank it up session right there as Kevin Winker still has the race lead. Winker out in front, has the top spot, is down and across the line. He'll click off. 16 laps left to go as it is now 15 laps left here in this one. Kevin Winker's got the race lead. He's looking to try to hang on and hold these drivers back there at base. He wants to put himself up and into the Metal Morphosis Machine LLC victory lane here this evening in the Richard Bradshaw presented HCK Beagles Truck Series. As Kevin Winker out in front, he's got the top spot. He's got that race lead, but the gap is not a lot here. It's just over a second, and over the last couple laps, he's been giving up about half a second, 4/10, 3/10 here to Nicholas Snyder. So for Snyder, Brad Lane, they came down pit road roughly about 6 to 8 laps after Kevin Winker did. So Winker used those fresh tires to his advantage to jump out in front, to give himself this bit of a lead, this little bit of an advantage. But late in the race, they're going to be hunting him down, and you see it here on the big screen as here comes Winker down across the line, going to click off another lap. 13 more laps left to go, but you see that gap only about 6 truck lengths between Kevin Winker and that 5 rider, Nicholas Snyder. Snyder is reeling him in a quick hurry. Brad Lane's right there ready to bounce as well. Brandon Deming back in position number 4. He's got a little bit older tires here as well, but he is definitely got about 4 lap better tires than Kevin Winker. So for K-Dub, he's going to have a hard time not only hanging on to the race lead, but trying to hang on to a top 3 run here this evening as he's able to lead another lap, but I'm not sure if he'll get another one. As there we go, there's the pass, the 5 ride of Nicholas Snyder, able to get back around that number 42 machine. And for Winker, he now has Brad Lane down to his inside as they're door to door. It looks like for Brad Lane and the 5 ride, they will make quick work of Kevin Winker, sliding Winker back into position number 3 as Winker will now have to try and keep this 1 second gap between himself and Brandon Deming here for just over 11 laps of racing action. Cal Turboville a little farther back here as that 64 ride sits back in that 5th position. For Cal, obviously having a solid run, solid drive here again this evening. He's been up and onto the podium here already 3 times out of 3 races here on the season. Can he make it 4 in a row for the 64 ride? As he does have quite a bit fresher tires than Kevin Winker, a bit better tire than Brandon Deming, as he's trying to reel them both down as Winker continues to fall farther and farther back. It's Nicholas Snyder in the 1 rider, Brad Lane, who are duking it out. Now Snyder does have about 2 lap better tires than that number 1 ride, so that couple extra lap better tires may be the difference maker here late in this race between Snyder and Brad Lane. As we see that tire wear obviously playing effect here as you see Winker continue to slide farther and farther back. You see Brandon Ming reeling him in and quickly Cal Turboville reeling them both in here. Evan Gomet even farther back here. He's about 5 seconds back of Cal Turboville, 6 seconds back of Winker and Brandon Deming. So even if they fall back a couple spots here for Winker and Deming, should still probably be solid top 5 runs here this evening for both these drivers. Some decent strategy here, just not quite good enough, as we did see Chris Gilbert also come down pit side here. Gilbert making a late pit stop in that 45 ride, coming down pit road on lap number 99. Unfortunately, could not go any farther, and for Chris Gilbert, he's now scored a lap down. So isn't Kyle Van Tassel, Tim Blankenbeckler. I believe Jason LePan also scored a lap down as Jacob Grube, the last car on the lead lap here. Grube in the 8th position, trying to rebound from an early on black flag where he had to make a pass-through penalty on lap number 3 here this evening. And for Jacob Grube, who was able to jump up, take the race lead early on. The 18 ride sitting back here in that 8th position. Great rebound day for him here, especially with no caution flags to gain him back any track position to get back into the battle. But everybody has been hunting down this 5 rider, Nicholas Snyder, and Snyder now starting to open up this lead, starting to pull away here from Brad Lane. Just about a second between the two of them here at the front of the pack. And look at this 3-car battle for 3rd. Oh, baby, Winker's trying to hang on to it. gets loose out of 4. There goes the 77 of Brandon Domingue. Down low, it's the 64 of Cal Turbeville. Can Turbeville work his way back up into a 4th straight podium finish here to start this season? As look at K-Dub hanging that thing wide out there, man. This 42 is trying to find everything he can, trying to keep himself in the battle here for this 3rd spot on the Speedway. Unfortunately for Winker, he is going to fall back quite a little bit here. Brandon Ming now trying to hang on to position number 3. Cal Turbeville, the big run though, looking to take it away from him with only 5 laps left to go. Turbeville looking for another podium here this evening as Nicholas Snyder and Brad Lane both about 5 seconds here in front of these guys. As there we go, down and out of corner number 2. Big run there for Cal Turbeville, able to get back onto the throttle a little bit sooner than Brandon Domingue. They'll move Domingue back into 4th. Kevin Winker there in 5th. They got still about a 3-second gap all the way back to Evan Gomet. As Gomet there in 6th. Aiden Hines there in 7th. Group rounding out our top 8. Jason LePan and Tim Blankenbeckler, our top 10. Great run there for good old Timmy Blankenbeckler here this evening as well. Sitting there in that 10th position. I'm not sure if he should be able to hang on to it. He's got a pretty decent gap between himself and Kyle Van Tassel. As out in front, though, it's Nicholas Snyder. Snyder, 1.8 seconds between himself and Brad Lane. As Lane trying to reel him in. Unfortunately, the little bit older tires gonna prove too big of a gap and too big of an advantage here for Nicholas Snyder late in this race as he's looking to run away with it. Brad Lane gonna look, they're trying to hang on to position number 2 is Cal Turbeville. They're in 3rd. Brandon Domingue in position number 4. Continue to look for more as Kevin Winker rounding out our top 5 here this evening. As Nicole Winker says, let's go Winker. Hashtag Winker Nation in the chat. Winker Nation in the chat right now for K-Dub. Good, solid top 5 run so far here this evening. Can he hang on to it with only a couple more laps? Still has a couple seconds between himself and our 6th place driver, Evan Gourmet. As Nicholas Snyder, though, out in front, this man is just setting sail. He's got it on cruise control and looking a lot like Kyle Larson on Sunday night in his HendrickCars.com number 5 ride, winning the NASCAR Cup Series Championship there at Phoenix Raceway for the 5 ride of Nicholas Snyder. Looking for the win here this evening himself and looking for another advantage into winning potentially his championship in this series. As Nicholas Snyder down through corner 1 and 2 for the final time will take us back down the Chicagoland Speedway, back straight away. Sends it deep down into corner number 3, still on cruise control, still pulling farther away from our 2nd place competitor. Is down and out of 4 and across the line. It is Nicholas Snyder who will pick up the checkered flag here in the Morphosis Machine LLC HCK Beagles Truck Series here from Chicagoland Speedway. Nicholas Snyder getting it done and picking up the win here this evening, man. What a run and what a drive for that HendrickCars.com number 5 machine as he's drifting it here. What are we looking at? Are we watching Shane Van Gisbergen or Nicholas Snyder out there on the racetrack drifting it around the speedway here to put himself up and into victory lane? Brad Lane will come home in 2nd. Cal Turbeville back in 3rd with Brandon Domingue, Kevin Winker rounding out our top 5. Then we see Evan Gourmet, Aiden Hines, Jacob Grube, Jason LePan, and Tim Blankenbeckler going to round out our top 10 here this evening as we'll get ready to pull our top 3 up and into the broadcast booth here for their post-race interviews. Post-race interviews coming up next. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here to the 5 ride, man. What a run, what a drive, what a performance from Nicholas Snyder to capture the win here this evening as he continues to celebrate here today, man. Great run, great win for that number 5 machine. We'll get ready to pull him and the rest of our top 3 up and into the broadcast booth here for their post-race interviews, man. Great runs, great finishes, man. These guys were putting on an absolute show for us here this evening. Let's see if we can get them up here into the booth. Hey, Nick, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth to get a copy.
Yes, sir.
Nick, man, what a run, what a drive for you here this evening from Chicagoland Speedways. You're again able to find yourself up here in victory lane. Obviously, a little bit of pit road strategy, making that later pit stop and having the better tires coming back out onto the racetrack. Obviously, able to get a good pit stop in. You come out basically door to door there with Brad Lane, the couple lap better tires, and you're able to just pull away from him here. You hunt down Winker, you get around him, and from that point on, it was like you were on cruise control here this evening. A nice little Sunday drive as you navigate that 5 ride up and into victory lane, man. Take us back through it and what's going through your mind right now as you pick up another win here in the HCK Beagles Racing League.
Yeah, I'm excited. To go back to back weeks. It was a good race. We started on the pole, and then I had to let Brad by there. I was just burning so much fuel just being in the lead, so I had to let him by and just use a teammate to draft. And I don't think he picked up on what I was doing. Just so I can get some stage points and pit the very next lap, and it kind of just set off the pit strategy and stuff. And Chicagoland's it's just a tire eating place. So I feel like the longer you can run, the better you will be. It just depends on where you're at. Obviously, if you're second and like a second behind, you obviously got to try to short pit and try to gap them. But I was lucky enough to run a little longer and keep extending my lead before pit roads. Before we started doing pit roads again.
Yeah, absolutely. Able to open up that gap, have that little bit of a cushion there where Brad was trying to leapfrog you, trying to get in front of you here, but obviously just over that 2-lap period, you had it timed perfectly that you came out pit side right there together, and he wasn't able to have that big advantage or that opportunity to build a big lead as you time things perfectly here. We've seen it a lot of times before where drivers may be in your position, wait a little bit too long, even though you got the better tires, you're faster than the cars in front of you. They were able to build such a big gap that you run out of time to hunt them down. But here tonight, you play it perfectly. You play all your cars right, and you park yourself back up here into victory lane. Nicholas, who would you like to thank again here tonight for another great run, great drive, and amazing performance here from Chicagoland Speedway?
Yeah, I'd just like to, thank you for taking your time out on Tuesday to broadcast the race, all the admins that, put their effort in week in and week out. To give us a series of race on Tuesday night, and Billy and everyone a part of my crew and Snyder Beast Racing for sticking with me, and just like to thank everybody that took their time to watch.
Absolutely. Well, Nick, heck of a run, heck of a drive here this evening, brother. We can't wait to see you back out there on the racetrack next Tuesday night, and look to see if you can try to make it 3 wins in a row.
We're gonna try. I haven't done that yet in this series, so it'll be a first if I can.
All right. Well, you got something to go for. It'll be exciting to watch. Good luck, and we can't wait to see you back out there, brother. Enjoy the rest of your night and enjoy the rest of your week.
Same to you. Thank you.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race winner, Nicholas Snyder. Snyder with a big win, great run, great drive there out of that number 5 ride. As K-Dub, Mr. Winker says, well, no stage win, laugh out loud, but came back for top 5. So I'll take it. I'll take that. Yeah, any day. Any day you can come home with a top 5 run, Winker, is a good day at the Speedway. Obviously, stage points, you wanted them. You wanted to see a lot more drivers come down pit road before lap number 33. Unfortunately, just could not get that lucky here this evening. Trying to win your 4th stage of the season. Yeah, came up a little bit shy there on that one, but still overall good run, solid drive. You led some laps, you played some good strategy there. Coming home with the top 5 run, man, nothing to hang your head about it. So we'll get ready now to pull in our 2nd place finisher, the number 1 ride, Brad Lane. Let's get Lane up here into the booth. Hey, Brad, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. Do you get a copy?
Hey, Aaron, I got you.
Brad, man, solid run, solid drive here this evening. Obviously, trying to play a lot of that strategy, trying to run some different laps, some different times, and trying to put yourself into a position early on to, maybe give yourself that little bit of an edge here throughout this feature event by jumping out in front, passing Nicholas Snyder, obviously coming up one lap shy of being able to get some stage points here this evening, but you're able to keep on battling. You're able to use that to your advantage as you continue to try to leapfrog and keep Snyder back there at bay, as he was so strong here this evening, late in this race, as you try to come down a couple laps earlier than he does. He's able to have such a good lead, though, that you guys come out virtually, door to door there down the back straightaway. He's able to get back in front of you real quick, and from that point on, you were just trying to hang on, try to stick with him, try to put a little bit of pressure onto his back bumper. No mistakes, though, out of that 5 right, as he's able to just drive away and pick up the dub here this evening. But, man, what a run, what a drive it was for yourself. Take us back through it, and what's going through your mind?
Yeah, we all knew Nick was going to be the class of the field as usual, but yeah, I didn't do a good job saving fuel during their first run. As you could tell, everybody got some stage points and pitted a lap after me, but me pitting early, um, kind of leapfrogging the field and short pitting everybody gave me some fresh tires, and I was able to kind of gain on that and maintain some track position. And I felt like I had to play that strategy throughout the entire race where I think that's the reason why I finished maybe 3 or 4 seconds ahead of these guys when everybody was really equal for the most part. But yeah, I knew right there at the end, that last green flag pit stop, Nick came out. I think we were door to door. Maybe he came out slightly in front of me, but I knew when that happened, he had the race locked down as long as there wasn't a caution.
Yeah, absolutely. Late race caution flag, man, really would have turned this one upside down. Would have made things very, very interesting. But, man, it was a hell of a show, hell of a battle. And obviously through all these pit cycles, no yellow flags, 110 laps of green flag action, you're able to run a virtually almost a picture-perfect race yourself here. Still come up just that little bit shy, but, man, a solid second-place run here in this one. Brad, who would you like to thank for another solid performance out there on the racetrack?
Yeah, I've got some friends that watch. My parents watch. I'd like to thank them for tuning in and being entertained. It's mine and my wife's anniversary tonight, so I was hoping to get a win, but just I'll take a second place finish and a podium finish any day. I guess so.
Yeah, absolutely not quite the win that I think you wanted to get for, but man, that was a hell of a run here in this one, and obviously maybe a little bit of a late anniversary present maybe next week. I know Snyder is going for 3 wins in a row here on the season. He told us in the post-race interview here he's never done that in a series before, so maybe a little bit extra there, maybe that a little bit more nerves for the 5 ride going into next week, trying to win that 3-peat, that maybe he makes a mistake or two and opens up the door for you to maybe steal that win next Tuesday.
Yeah, maybe so. I've raced with Nick for about 5 or 6 years now. We've raced in different leagues, and oh man, I don't know. I kind of find it hard to believe he's not won 3 in a row. So maybe he's just kind of blowing some smoke.
Yeah, maybe just a little too humble of a guy. But man, Brad, hell of a run, hell of a drive. We can't wait to see what you guys got in store for us next Tuesday night, man. Enjoy the rest of your evening and enjoy the rest of your week.
Yeah, you too, Aaron. Thanks, man.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place finisher, Mr. Brad Lane. As Laner comes home in position number 2, we'll get ready now to pull in our third place finisher, Cal Turbeville. Turbeville coming home in position number 3. Let's get Cal up here into the booth. Hey, Cal, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. Take it a copy?
Yes, sir.
Cal, man, another good run, another solid drive, and you keep the dream here going as 4 races, 4 podiums for that 64 machine, man. Take us back through what's going through your mind as you're able to park it back up here on the podium here this evening.
Yeah, that was quite a handful of a race. It was everybody was fast, everybody was hard to pass, everybody was sliding, but man, you talk about a workout. That was just catch the right rear lap after lap after lap, especially when you was getting about 15 or more laps on the tires. It was just a handful every turn you went through. But all in all, I think we did pretty good tonight. We had a new guy running with us. We had old Aiden running with us, and he was doing really good until he got a little caught up in the pits, and it cost him a lot. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with how everything went, how the strategy went for us. We didn't do nothing too crazy on the strategy, just basically run her till she was dry for the most part. I believe last
pit stop. We decided to short pit a little bit, but pretty straightforward race, just big time handful.
Yeah, big time handful. A lot of fast cats out there. One big slip up, one mistake. All of a sudden, you can find yourself sliding back 2 or 3 positions. We saw you guys battling tight together there for quite a while. When we look back, we saw you, Brad Lane, Brandon Domingue, Winker, even Evan Gomet and Aiden all kind of right there bunched together for a large majority of this race until pretty much that was final pit stops, and then it was down to basically when you came down pit road, who had the better tires, and then just trying to hunt the guys down that tried to short pit here late in the race. And luckily enough, you were able to hunt down Winker and Brandon Domingue, get around both of them, and park yourself back up here onto the podium.
Yeah, definitely. The whole race, the premise of everything was just keep the right rear under it. And I think once I got some open air where I wasn't really sliding around behind anybody, it was really good to just log laps and run them down. I run them down, honestly, a lot easier than I thought I'd be able to, because that was the first time I'd had a really clean air and not had to be stuck behind anybody for a good period of time burning the stuff. But yeah, all in all, I think it went really good. I ain't really got any complaints. It was just, man, it was just hard keeping it under you.
Yeah, absolutely. And 110 laps, caution free. It's nonstop green flag action. And as you said, it's a lot of laps and a lot of slipping and sliding out there on the speedway. But Cal, you park it back up here for your 4th time in a row onto the podium, man. Who would you like to thank again here tonight for another great run and great performance here from Chicagoland Speedway?
Oh yeah, I'd like to thank you for doing such a great job up in the booth. I'd like to thank HCK. They do such a great job putting on this league. It's one of the best leagues I've ever been a part of, and it just gets better and better the way it's run. I'd like to thank Evan for yet again doing good strategy. Still not having the best luck for him, but we'll get him back up here again. I'd like to thank Aiden for hopping in for the first time with us. I think he enjoyed it. I'd like to thank everybody watching and all the sponsors on the side of the truck. And yeah, until next week.
Absolutely, brother. We can't wait to see you guys back in action and see if we can see this 64 ride back up here onto the podium for 5 weeks in a row to start this season, man. Hottest driver out there on the racetrack. 4 top 3s in a row, and we can't wait to see what you got in store next week for race number 5.
Yes, sir. Hope to see you.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your night and enjoy the rest of your week, Cal.
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for Cal Turboville as Cal comes home in position number 3 here this evening. So Cal with a great run, solid drive, solid performance here this evening as he parks himself back up onto the podium with another top 3 run, man. These guys putting on an absolute show, absolutely masterclass of a race here tonight. 110 laps of non-stop green flag racing here from Chicagoland Speedway, and that's what it's all about right there, man. Good, hard racing fun here at a wonderful, wonderful racetrack. And man, we can't thank all of you wonderful, wonderful people for tuning in and enjoying the amazing racing here this evening in the Richard Bradshaw presented HCK Beagles Truck Series, powered by Morphosis Machine LLC here for this season, man. We can't thank all of you guys enough for tuning in, showing the love, and enjoying the amazing racing out there on the track, man. Hell of a show, hell of a battle, and we can't wait to see what these guys got in store for us next week. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is going to do it for us here tonight, man. If you haven't already, make sure you guys do us a favor. Hit the like button on the broadcast for us right now. Hit that thumbs up button. Hit that subscribe button as well. Become a new member of the Peacemaker family here this evening. And make sure you guys definitely turn those bell notifications on, because you never want to miss it when we go live here on Peacemaker Gaming, as we will be back live again tomorrow night. We'll be back up here in the booth. We got some dirt track racing action to look forward to, and it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of great battle, and a lot of great fun. And hopefully we see you guys right back up in the grandstands cheering these drivers on. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in. We'll catch y'all back here tomorrow night. But unfortunately, that will do it for us here this evening. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your night. And we'll see you guys back here tomorrow. Peace out for now, ladies and gentlemen. Peace and love.
Vision. Planning. Possibility. At Metamorphosis Machine, we turn ideas into engineered reality. Whether you're working with plastics, composites, ferrous or non-ferrous metals, our capabilities and vast partner network ensure no project is too big, too small, or too complex. From concept to completion, your success starts here. Discover how Metamorphosis can elevate your machining needs today. Precision. Planning. Possibility. At Metamorphosis Machine, we turn ideas into engineered reality. Whether you're working with plastics, composites, ferrous or non-ferrous metals, our capabilities and vast partner network ensure no project is too big, too small, or too complex. From concept to completion, your success starts here. Discover how Metamorphosis can elevate your machining needs today.
Trucks flying through the night, NASCAR dreams within our sight. Asphalt heroes in the fight, peacemakers gaining light so bright. Revving it up, feel the pace, speed hounds in the race. Feel the thrill, feel the chase, victory is our holy place. Throttle down, no time to waste, in this high-octane haste. Every corner, every taste leads us closer to first place. Under lights, the engine scream, this is more than just a dream. Through the asphalt like a beam, racers' hearts with fervor gleam. In this game we find our might, push the pedal like the night. With each lap our spirits flight, racing on with all our might. Trucks flying through the night, NASCAR dreams within our sight. Asphalt heroes in the fight, peacemakers gaining life so bright. Revving it up, feel the pace, speed hounds in the race. Feel the thrill, feel the chase, victory is our holy place. Thrill the place, thrill the place. Throttle down, no time to waste, in this high-octane haste. Feel the thrill, feel the chase, victory is our holy place. Throttle down, no time to waste, in this high-octane haste. Every corner, every taste leads us closer to first place. Throttle down, no time to waste, in this high-octane haste. In this high-octane haste, every corner, every taste leads us closer to first place. Under lights, the engine scream, this is more than just a dream. Through the asphalt like a beam, racers' hearts with fervor gleam. In this game we find our might, push the pedal like the night. With each lap our spirits flight, racing on with all our might.